Yeah, today we are discussing in Microsoft Dynamics 365 financial operations, physical calendar, how that functionality will work. Welcome to Dynamics Global Edge IT solution, which is primarily focusing on regular training, placement oriented training, and real time implementation in high tech city corporate office. How, as a consultant, he will spend 8 hours in a office when he was in implementation. The same way we'll teach on here. Let's come back to our syllabus. Welcome to our presentation on fiscal calendar in Microsoft Dynamics 365 financial operation, which is a very important aspect for efficient financial management. Today, I'm going to explain about how to navigate and create those specific fiscal calendar within the Dynamics 365 financial operation. So as you are aware on it, so how you can able to access, especially in application, you can see that this is the application, Microsoft Dynamics 365 financial operation. I'm teaching the latest version. Even you can check that latest version application specific, that is 10.0.43, and the application platform is update 67.7.0.752.1.60. So today we are going to discuss about the fiscal calendar. What is the role on here? The primary role on here, we should have to understand what is the importance in fiscal calendar. Fiscal calendar are integrated to the financial system in Dynamics 365 financial operation. So this one orchestrate various financial activities such as transaction, budgeting module, and compliances as per the government rules and regulations as per financial year. So this understanding their importance is effective financial administrative purpose we are going to use. This one dictate timing for the transactions, budgeting, asset depreciation, and ensure compliances with reporting requirement and influencing the overall financial administration and efficiency of the organization. So the physical calendar, very key important is there you can see the physical year, which is defining organization financial structure. Periods, that is intervals like monthly, quarterly, or yearly, or how we can able to define that one. To track and perform all the facilities, precise financial analysis and reporting. Closing period. Once the financial year it has been completed, we should have to close post period, that is on hold if it is a running mode. If it is a financial year, once audit and everything it has been completed, we must have to close and we must have to transfer currently closing balances to next financial year as an opening balances. Once if you come back, where and other we are going to use, one and very important thing is the financial transaction. So on day-to-day business operations, we should have to record all financial transactions on date-wise within the organization. That is the one of the important. And the depreciation, when you are going to have an organization, absolutely you will have a list of assets in your organization. Those assets on day-to-day uses, those assets will be depreciated. It will be scheduled. For that also we should have to use fiscal calendar. For budgeting, absolutely it is required to have a control to plan and manage allocations of the financial fund in alignment with organization goals and strategies. For that, it is required the fiscal calendar. And reporting requirement, when you are going to generate a report, you should need to have a full-fledged information. What are all the time intervals from and to date we are going to use. Configuration steps. When you want to configure your physical calendar, you should have to go to your general ledger module, and then there you can able to create your physical calendar on here. If you want to create a physical calendar, one is access, that you can go to your general ledger module under the physical calendars, there you can find physical calendar. The naming and type is important because this is a global setup. Once if you have been create one fiscal calendar, if it is the same requirement in another legal entity, instead of going to create a new fiscal calendar, we can use the same existing ones. Defining the fiscal year, specifying the distinctive fiscal year, including their starting and ending date to the company's specific financial operation, which is a very important, especially if you can go and see in India, we are having 1st April to 31st March. If you can go to US, their financial year is 1st January to 31st December we used to have. If you want to access your specific to the financial year, fiscal calendar, go to your general ledger module. Under that, there you can find calendars. There you can find an option called fiscal calendar. Even including you can find navigation, especially if you can go and see that navigation part is here. You can see that this is the navigation where you can able to find it. And so one legal entity can use one fiscal calendar, but based on the business requirement, you can create as many as fiscal calendar as per your business requirement. Here, if you can see, this is about Microsoft Corporation legal entity learning purpose. It has been created. The starting date is 1/1/2025 to 31st/12/2025. It has been used, and the naming conversion according to how your financial transaction you are going to maintain. Based on that, you can able to manage everything on here. The naming conversion. Suppose if you are having more than one legal entity, like if you are having 4 legal entity, if you want to use only one fiscal calendar for all those 4 legal entity, you can use. But if you want to maintain 4 legal entities for 4 fiscal calendars, you can maintain. That is purely depending on business requirement, you can define it. The next one here, you can see that you can creating the periods, and there you can find the setting of the period status, assigning to the legal entity level, option to closing period. As I told you, when you are going to have multiple legal entity with different countries, so we need to have different closing period. In India, we have 1st April to 31st March. If we can go to US, they are having 1st January to 31st December. It means 2 companies, if you are going to use only one fiscal calendar, here we should have to create 2 closing periods. That is purely depending on business requirement. So let us take an example. I'm going to teach you about India specific legal entity. Suppose if you are going to use your fiscal calendar 24 to 25, starting is 1st April 2024 to and March 31st 2025. This is the timeline businesses to use their financial transaction recording and local compliance requirement. For example, this is the period where we are going to use. Now, let us take an example. As I told you, we are going to provide you training on Microsoft Dynamics 365 financial operation on full-time implementation, how your life it will be once if you get into the consultant role. There, we should have to prepare specifically, before going to create your fiscal calendar, you should have to capture FRD, that is functional requirement document. If you are going to implement a software for an organization, let us take an example called Dynamics Global Edge IT Solution, how you have to make the FRD. In this one, if it is required any gaps, if it has any gap, like where we do not have that functionality within the application, and if you want to prepare, how we can able to design fit gap analysis and functional design document. After that, how you can develop solution design documentation and training manual for users, how to prepare. We will teach you on the documentation preparation who are joined on the full-time implementation project as well. The functional requirement document means the purpose and the document outlined is very important to capability and the condition for creating the fiscal calendar in Dynamics 365 financial operation, ensure alignment with business needs and regulatory standards, and facilitating smooth financial transactions. When it comes to the preparation steps, we should have to create a document and first collect the information from the client in detail, evaluate the different calendar template, and construct the clear framework to present those requirements to the organization. Let us take when we should use the standard and when it is failed in standard application. What are all the key component? Example of layout will be discussed there. And functional design documentation is that is gap where we have. Here the purpose and the audience will be documented in detail to the stakeholders, and the detailed content in the implementation steps, including phases, resource, timeline, need for successful execution. Example will be taken where we are going to do the implementation. When it comes to the end user, so what are all the things we should have to teach to the end user and to the equip the user with the necessary skills for navigating the fiscal calendar in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. They should provide the detailed guide and troubleshooting tips to tailor in different proficiency level. This is the case where we are going to execute. This section will give you an example if you are going to make a real-time implementation, how that is. Where we're going to use this fiscal calendar, like if you are going to use this fiscal calendar in fixed assets depreciation, the scenarios and calendar setups. And if you are going to use for GST, how we are going to use this fiscal calendar, including aligning with fiscal periods, benefits and procedures. If you are going to use budget cycle utilization, how that is going to use in budgeting module. And if you are be perfect when you are going to attending the interviews, in interviews, we will prepare you interviews with the targeting questions focusing on the fiscal calendar configuration and localization impact and differentiating between the fiscal and ledger calendar. What is the main differentiation between? Sorry. And then how used to ask frequently interview questions like general setup, configuration interview questions like, okay, and what is the generally how to configure your fiscal calendar? What is the difference between fiscal calendar entity level and shared calendar, and closing period status like open, on hold, and permanently closed? And localization specific, what is the difference between the fiscal and ledger calendar? What is the impact when you are going to have India localization along with US? What are the important factors it is going to be have in D365 Finance and Operation? And then we can see the utilization of the depreciation, how it is going to use, that is fixed assets, operation cost and regulatory, how we are going to use in budgeting module, that is reporting level where we are going to use, localization impact. The conclusion here will make you interview preparation focusing on configuration tactics, localization impact, and integration between the fiscal and ledger calendar, emphasizing the importance of user understanding D360 for finance and operation, and comprehensive fiscal calendar framework will teach you in the real time. When you are going to work for any one of the project, those specific what are all the options for each and every we can teach you on here. If you can go to the application, there you can see that we do have total 14 periods, starting with 0 and ending with 13, total 14. And you can see that the period type is 3. One is the opening, operating, and closing. You can post transaction only in opening. You can post the transaction only operating. You cannot post any transaction opening and closing period. When period status is open, you can able to post the transaction. When period status is on hold, you cannot post the transaction, but there is some exception, a group of the user. When period status is permanently closed, you cannot post any kind of the transaction, even if you're having an exception group also. When we should have to use all these three, we'll teach you in detail in training level. Who are looking for training, You can get in touch with in this contact information in Dynamics Global IT Solution. So we are going to support journey with the Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation training, and our people will assist you if you need any kind of support or assistance, training or interview support. You can contact 9966598615, and the email ID is support@dgit.com. Okay. So if anyone have any questions, you can reach out to our office. We will definitely help you on it. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.